I am on page 87 of Iron Flame, and so far I am enjoying it. Oh, I'm struggling with this book, guys. I'm on page 170.
I've realized that I don't like Violet as a character.
I was like, what is going on? Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Venus and this is the start of another reading vlog. I'm so excited for this reading vlog. Today is November 7th, so we have two new releases today. Two books that I've really been looking forward to reading. I'm so excited. I'm waiting for Amazon to drop my books off, but it is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros and Bookshops and Bonedust by Travis Baldree. So those are the two books that I will be reading in this reading vlog, and like I said, I am super excited, anxiously awaiting my copies. It's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon on November 7th. All I have from Amazon is arriving today by 10 p.m. So still waiting. Have no idea when these books are gonna come. I did finish rereading Fourth Wing, so I will admit I wasn't like obsessed like everyone else was with Fourth Wing when it came out, but after reread, I really enjoyed that book. So the first time I rated it, I gave it a 3.5 stars, and I think I dropped on Goodreads. I have it as a 3-star. I had it as a 3-star, but I upped it. It's definitely solid 4-star read. I had a really fun time with it the second time. I took my time with it, didn't rush through it. There still are some cringy dialogue and some of the steamy scenes are super cringy, but the world building actually was much better than I remembered it being, and the intensity of the fights with the dragons was so good. So I will say for this vlog, there will be spoilers for Fourth Wing. As I'm reading Iron Flame, if I talk about any spoilers, I will definitely let you know, but Iron Flame is a sequel, so obviously I'm gonna have to talk about some things from Fourth Wing. So if you have not read Fourth Wing, I'm warning you now, there will definitely be some spoilers from that book. So now that I've said that, I'm also gonna say things that I absolutely hated about the ending of Fourth Wing. I could not stand, what is her name? I literally just read the book and I've already forgotten her name. Violet, otherwise known as Violence, got on my nerves, the way she treated Xaden at the end of Fourth Wing, right before we find out that her brother is still alive. Just that whole section when she finds out, you know, why Xaden did what he did, and like just all like the blaming. I was like, get over yourself, this is so irritating. So I'm hoping that that doesn't drag on in Iron Flame, because that's gonna be really irritating. But other than that, I'm very excited to see where this goes. I am way more excited after rereading it. Yeah, the first time I was just like, oh, that was okay, it was cute, but now I get it. I get it. I had a fun time. So that's the intro. I'm just anxiously awaiting my copies. I do have it on Audible. I did get it this morning. I had a credit, so I'm gonna be listening to it and reading it, but I want the physical book here first before I actually start it. And then I will also be reading, like I said, Bookshops and Bonedust, which I'm super excited for because I loved Legends and Lattes. So that's my check-in for now because I don't have the book yet. I will let you guys know once it arrives. Logging into work. It is Thursday, November 9th, and it is 7:53 in the morning, so I'm logging in, but I wanted to give you guys an update. I am on page 87 of Iron Flame, and so far I am enjoying it. One second, I have to get my phone to log in. Sorry, so I am on page 87 and I'm enjoying it so far. It literally picks up right where the first book ends. So we know that Brennan is alive. He healed Violet from the poison that she acquired in the last book. We don't spend much time with Brennan. We get a little bit of what's going on and some politics. There is definitely some more world building so far, and I'm enjoying it. Violet so far is still getting on my nerves. This whole like thing with Xaden where she's mad at him because he didn't tell her everything because he was trying to save her, basically keep her safe, is really getting overplayed, and I don't want to go through this for 600 pages because I did not realize this book was 600 pages, but I cannot deal with her being like this for 600 pages. So I hope she gets her shit together soon. Xaden is also not in the book as much right now because they were separated because he's basically graduated, and what is he, like a third year, and they go off and do like missions or whatever. Yeah, I don't like that part. But so far it's okay. I'm overall enjoying it. It's a little tiny bit slower, but right when I feel like, oh, this is kind of dragging, some action happens. Like the end of one chapter, something happened, and I literally was like, what the fuck? There are a couple new characters that have been introduced. We've already had a few deaths as well. Yeah, I mean, I'm trudging along. I have no idea how long it's going to take me to read this book. I don't know what I was thinking. I did not realize, like I said, that it's a 600-page book. And I also wanted to read Bookshops and Bonedust in this vlog. We'll see how that goes, because who knows how long it's going to take me to finish Iron Flame. But tentatively, I'm going to read 2 books in this vlog. When I come back, because I need to get started at work, but I'm going to show you, I'm actually tabbing and annotating, which I usually do when I read like fantasy books, but I actually assigned different things to the tabs that I'm using to be a little bit more organized. So I'm going to share that with you when I come back, maybe on my morning break. But until then, see ya. Just wanted to show you guys how I am annotating Iron Flame. So as you can see, I've got some colored tabs here, and I did actually assign the tabs meaning this time. Usually I don't, but it's kind of helping. So for this dark blue, I have it for world building and history, and then for this like kind of dark gray, it is for dragons. So anything that has to do with the dragons that I find interesting. And then for this kind of, I don't know, what is this? Like a bluish gray. I have that for characters. This is new characters or some kind of character development that I wanted to make note of. And then for this kind of burgundy, I have that for any like love, cute, steamy scenes or something that makes me swoon. And then this kind of greenish color, I have Idiot, which I'm gonna say probably is gonna be used a lot for Violet, unfortunately. And then this orange color, WTF, which is for moments that are like kind of shocking or like, you know, basically WTF moments. So that's what I'm doing for this so far, and I'm actually really enjoying it. I like that it's more organized that way, and when I look at the tabs, I know exactly what what I underlined on that page. So I'm feeling all organized, guys. I mean, this is exciting. So just wanted to show you that for now. Hello, checking in. It is Friday, what is today? November 10th, and it's 11:45. I'm on my lunch break, and I'm struggling with this book, guys. I'm on page 170, and I'm just really irritated with Violet. I can't deal with the back and forth, and that she's upset with Xaden because he won't give her full disclosure. It's just getting really played out, and I'm getting bored, and there's other things I would rather be doing, like anything else than reading this book. So I'm really hoping that something happens or they make up really soon, because there's literally no way I'm gonna read 600 pages of this shit. So that's my update for now. I'm sorry it's not all that exciting. Yeah, this book is just, I'm struggling. I'm struggling with it, guys. I really, really am. I was really kind of enjoying it a little bit in the beginning, and then it just started getting super repetitive. And so, yeah, that's all I have for now. I hope it picks up soon. It's a gloomy day here. It's raining. It's a perfect day to be reading something that you enjoy. So I am hoping really hoping this picks up because I'm feeling like it's putting me in a reading slump, and I just don't want to do that. So we'll see how the rest of this day goes, and I'll check in with you guys later.
Friday night. I'm on page 262 and I am struggling so hardcore. Oh my God. I've realized that I don't like Violet as a character, which is hard because she's the main character and the point of view in this whole book. And I don't like her. And just the direction this book is going in is very boring. I'm tired of the Xaden and Violet situation that's happening right now. There was a kind of cool little twist with one of the characters, and then I haven't heard anything else about it. So I'm on chapter 29, and I really want to get through this book and be done with it so I can move on to something that brings me joy. I keep seeing where the ending is amazing, so I'm hoping to push through this. This is reminding me of how I felt when I read the second Crescent City book, where I hated every second of it. So we'll see how this goes, but I will check back in with you guys. I really want to finish this book this weekend. I do not want to take this into next week. I want to read something else next week. Yeah, so that's my update for now. This is a struggle. It really is. I hope you guys are enjoying it if you're reading it, because I'm not right now.
Wednesday, November 15th. I finished Fourth Wing quite a few days ago, actually Sunday morning, and I just needed to step back and have some time to think about it because otherwise this video would have been very negative. Yeah, let's just jump into the final thoughts for Fourth Wing, and then I also did read Bookshops and Bonedust by Travis Baldree. Both of these books did not live up to my expectations. Fourth Wing. Most of the time I was reading it, I was thinking this is probably going to be a 2.5 star read. And if it weren't for the ending, that's where I would have landed. But because of the ending, I did bump it up to 3 stars. I'm going to break this down by like plot, pacing, characters, the romance. Let's start with plot and pacing and like the world building. The pacing was horrible. There were so many parts in the middle of this book where I wanted it to end. It was dragging on. It wasn't making any sense. The world building was starting to get very convoluted and weird and confusing, and I just found myself not caring anymore until a part with like the dragons came, or some kind of high stakes situation, which was all throughout this book. Rebecca Yarros made so many... She made so many things that were happening in this book, I'm trying not to give spoilers, seem like they were very high stakes. Like, oh my God, if you guys do this, we're all gonna die. And they would do all these like side missions and they would end up fine. Some people would die, but there were characters that were introduced that you don't even remember or know. So she kept introducing characters that I didn't even bother learning their names because they were just like fillers. A lot of fillers in this book. The whole theme of trust was so repetitive, with Violet being mad at Xaden because he wouldn't fully trust her with everything, then her trust issues with her friends. The word trust, I Googled it. I searched it on my Kindle. It was said or written or mentioned 93 times. And I know this book is 600 pages, but to read that word 93 times, it was so annoying and overdone that I was like, I literally do not want to hear about this anymore. Please just move on from this. The world building with the venom and the wyvern and the griffins, and I was like, what is going on? There's wards and a veil and a hatching place for the dragons, and it was presented in such a way to make it so confusing. I just was like, or that I just didn't care. I read fantasy. I love fantasy, but Rebecca Yarros definitely has some learning to do. There's some kind of learning curve with her writing and the way she's presenting information. It just wasn't enjoyable. It just made it really hard to get through. And I'm sorry, because I know a lot of people are giving this book 5 stars. And I get that. That's fine. That's great. I'm happy for you, but I really struggled with this. Okay, so characters. I still don't like Violet. I really hope that I am going to continue on with this series because of the ending, but I really hope that some of the future books have different points of view, because I cannot be in Violet's head for a long time again. I just can't. I don't like her character. If I have to hear one more time another issue with repeating things, is how many times her shoulder pops out of joint, or her knees and her ankles, or how she's small. We get it. It doesn't need to be reiterated every single page. The entire way that Violet treated Xaden, I just couldn't deal with it anymore. I actually really like Xaden as a character, but their relationship, I'm just over it. The sex scenes were terribly placed. It didn't make any sense the way that they were put in and how graphic they were with this book. It worked for the first book. For Fourth Wing, it was fine because there was angst and you were building up to it, and it was great. I actually really enjoyed it in the first book. I couldn't stand it in this one. I skimmed through it. I did not want to read about that for some reason, and it just didn't match. It didn't go with the flow of the book. Plus, they were arguing all the time, so it wasn't like exciting, or it just was terrible. I didn't like the smut that was in it at all. So it just made this book really, really, it was just a rough read. But let's end on things that I liked. I did love the side characters. I love Rhiannon. I love Riddick. I love Garrick, Imogen, even a new character, Catriona, Kat. She is something else. And initially I was like, oh. But then I started liking her because I didn't like Violet, and she was kind of like the exact opposite of her. So I was enjoying her character. I even liked Dane in this book, and Violet's mother. I even liked her. I was just like, everybody but Violet. I could not stand. There's a villain that they have in this, like an over-the-top villain who's like the new commander or whatever the title is in their school. His name was Varish, I think. And he was so extra. I was like, are you kidding me? This character is so over the top. And they were trying to make him seem like this horrible torturer. And I was just laughing the whole time because I'm like, this guy he is terrible. He is something else. So having said all that, I did give it a 3 stars because of the freaking ending. It had the nerve to make me cry twice. And I want to know what happens. I'm like, she put me through all of this torture, 620 some pages in this book, torture. And then she's going to end it that way. I mean, if that's not clever, I don't know what is. Unfortunately, I'm going to continue on with this series, which says a lot because I mentioned earlier in the vlog, I DNF'd the Sarah J. Maas series, Crescent City or Crescent whatever, because I couldn't stand the second book. And I had no desire to learn what happened to the characters after the second book. But in this one, I need to know what happens because the way it ended. And I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to spoil anything for anyone. But it ended very, very well. So for people that loved Fourth Wing, I think you're definitely going to enjoy Iron Flame, the hardcore fans of the series. For people that were on the fence, this is probably definitely going to be a book that's going to make or break whether you continue on with the series or not, because it's hard to get through. The romance is terrible. Violet is annoying. The pacing is awful. But the damn ending, what the heck? So that's all I have to say about Fourth Wing. I'm done with this book. Okay, So let's talk about Bookshops and Bonedust, another book I was very, very excited to read. One of my most highly anticipated books this year. I absolutely adored Legends and Lattes. It made it on my top 10 list of favorite books for 2022, and Bookshops and Bonedust is not going to make my favorite list for this year. And I'm just bummed about that. I really am. So this is a prequel to Legends and Lattes. We are following Viv. She is an orc, and she's like a mercenary. She's part of this group called Rockham Ravens, which, could you have picked another name? Like, it sounds like a high school football team's name. I was like, every time I read that word, I was like, what in the heck? So they are trying to find this necromancer, and Viv gets injured. And so they drop her off at this town called Merk, where she is going to kind of recover. And then the Rockham, who is the leader of this mercenary group, states he will come back and pick her up on their way back after they find this necromancer. So she's cooped up in this town, and of course she meets all the locals. There's a bunch of cute little side characters. The bookshop angle in this book does not work as well as the coffee shop in Legends and Lattes. Legends and Lattes was so heartwarming and endearing and cozy, and the descriptions of the coffee and all of the pastries and the characters that helped bring the shop together, that's what made it such a great book. But for this one, it just didn't work as well, and you could kind of feel like he was trying to put the author, Travis Baldree, was trying to like have this formula and hoping that it would work, I'm assuming, the same way. And for me, it just didn't work. It was okay. I am giving it 3 stars. I mean, I did overall enjoy it, I think, but unfortunately when I compare it to Legends and Lattes, which I shouldn't do, but it just didn't live up to it at all. Even on its own, without having read Legends and Lattes, it's still just a 3-star book. It's okay. So Viv is in this town, Merk. She's getting to know the bookshop owner. Her name was Fern. She's a ratkin, and she's struggling with getting customers into her shop, so Viv kind of helps her revamp the shop along with some other side characters. There is a dwarf in this called, God, I can't remember her name. The dwarf is is it a dwarf? No, I'm sorry, a gnome. There's a gnome in this that's very funny as a side character. I listened to the audiobook, which both of these are available. Iron Flame and Bookshops and Bonedust are both available, on Scribd, which is now called Everland or Everand, something, I don't know. But it used to be Scribd. They're both available on the audiobook. So listening to the audiobook, the way Travis Baldree narrated the gnome, she has like a New York accent. It's hilarious. So you have that plot line going with, trying to help her fix up the bookshop and bring in customers. I did really like how Fern mentioned when she recommends books to customers or introduces reading to people, for fun, how it makes her feel when they come back and tell her how they love the book or how they're, excited to read again. I love that portion of it. So you have that kind of plotline going on, and then you have the necromancer and this mysterious man that comes into the shop, and so they're still trying to find this necromancer, and then this cool character called a homunculus, I think. He's basically like a bag of bones that can become like a skeleton and talk and everything. That was a cool little plot line in it, so I enjoyed that. The romance, though, I could have done without. It was very weird. So Viv kind of falls for an owner of a bakery, and I think she's a dwarf. And it's just a very odd romance. I don't think it needed to really be in this book. I think, them developing a friendship is fine, but again, with the formula, because the romance in Legends and Lattes was so well done, and I loved it, and it was a slow burn, and it was cute. This one was just I'm just going to throw a romance in here because it worked for the first book, and it didn't for this one. So, and it ends, and it's a happy ending, and things move on, and there was an epilogue that kind of brings up Legends and Lattes, which I feel like is kind of a spoiler if you haven't read Legends and Lattes. The epilogue, it was just weirdly placed, but overall, 3 stars. I still love Travis Baldree's writing. I just was kind of disappointed. So that's those are my thoughts. I'm sorry, guys. This might have been a rough reading vlog, but check out my other ones. while you're hanging out. And until next time, I hope you have a great day. See ya.